Imagine the sun-kissed fields where vibrant raspberries ripen, their sweet, tangy scent filling the air. Now, picture that fresh fruit transforming into the delicious spread we all know and love, raspberry jam. In today's video, we're going to walk you through the fascinating process of how raspberry jam is made in a factory. From the moment the berries are plucked from the vine to when that jar is sealed and ready to ship, we'll explore every step of the journey. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more behind the scenes of how everyday foods are made. Before we dive into the factory, let's talk about where the jam making begins. Raspberries are a delicate fruit, requiring specific conditions to thrive. They grow best in cooler climates with long, mild summers and well-drained soil. Regions like Oregon in the US and the United Kingdom are famous for their high-quality raspberries. Here they flourish, soaking in the sun and rain to produce plump, juicy berries perfect for jam making. Raspberry bushes are carefully tended to throughout the growing season, ensuring the best possible fruit. Unlike some fruits, raspberries are fragile, and they need to be picked by hand. Workers in the fields must be quick but delicate, making sure not to bruise the fruit as they harvest it. The best raspberries are those that are fully ripe, plump, and have the deep red color that signals peak sweetness. Once picked, they are carefully placed into baskets or crates, ready for transport to the processing facility. Once the raspberries arrive at the factory, they are unloaded and sent through an initial sorting process. This step is crucial, as only the highest quality raspberries are used for making jam. The berries are sorted to remove any that are overripe, underripe, or damaged. Some factories use machines with advanced technology to separate out impurities, while others still rely on manual labor for quality control. Next, the raspberries are carefully washed to remove any dirt, debris, or pesticides. They are placed in large washing tanks where gentle jets of water ensure that each berry is thoroughly cleaned without being damaged. It's vital that the berries stay intact during this process, as their shape and texture will affect the final product. Once cleaned, the raspberries are ready for the next step, crushing. In most modern factories, the berries are passed through a crusher or pulper. This machine gently breaks down the fruit into a puree, which will be the base of our jam. The pulp is collected and transferred into large cooking kettles. Here, the raspberry puree is combined with sugar, which helps preserve the fruit and gives the jam its signature sweetness. The amount of sugar varies based on the desired sweetness and consistency of the final product, but a typical ratio is around 60% fruit and 40% sugar. As the mixture begins to cook, it's carefully monitored to prevent burning or overcooking. The cooking process can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on the scale of production and the type of equipment being used. During this time, the pectin in the raspberries is released, helping the jam thicken and take on that perfect spreadable texture. Temperature control is critical at this stage. The jam must reach a precise temperature, typically around 220 degrees Fahrenheit, 104 degrees Celsius, to ensure it sets correctly. Some factories use advanced technology to measure the temperature and consistency, while others rely on the spoon test, a simple method where a small amount of jam is placed on a spoon and allowed to cool to see if it has the right thickness. Once the jam has reached the perfect consistency, it's time for jarring. The hot jam is carefully poured into sterilized jars. In large factories, this process is automated, with machines that fill and seal hundreds of jars every minute. However, quality control remains essential at this stage. Each jar is inspected for any air bubbles or imperfections in the seal, ensuring that the jam remains fresh for as long as possible. Once filled, the jars are sealed with tight-fitting lids to prevent any air from entering. Some factories use vacuum sealing techniques, where air is drawn out of the jar before sealing to prolong the shelf life of the jam. To ensure that the jam is safe to eat and has a long shelf life, it's pasteurized. This means the sealed jars are heated to a specific temperature for a set amount of time to kill any harmful bacteria or microorganisms. Pasteurization also helps preserve the color, flavor, and nutrients of the jam. After pasteurization, the jars are moved to a cooling station, where they are allowed to cool down gradually. Once cooled, the jars are transferred to the labeling station. Here, each jar is carefully labeled with its product name, ingredients, expiration date, and branding. The labeling process is typically automated in large factories, but the design and placement of the labels are carefully monitored for accuracy. Finally, the jars of jam are packed into cartons, ready to be shipped out to distributors, stores, and directly to customers. The packaging ensures that the jam stays secure and intact during its journey from the factory to your local grocery store. After all the hard work and care put into the production process, your jar of raspberry jam finally makes its way to your home. Whether it's for a morning breakfast spread, a sweet addition to desserts, or an ingredient in homemade pastries, raspberry jam is the perfect way to enjoy the taste of summer all year round. From the fields to the factory and finally to your table, the journey of raspberry jam is a testament to the hard work and care that goes into producing every jar. Next time you spread that delicious jam on your toast, you'll know exactly how it got there. Imagine this. You're sitting at breakfast, about to butter your toast. But have you ever stopped to wonder where that little pat of butter came from? It starts with something pretty amazing. Happy cows. And some farmers are going the extra mile to make sure their cows are really happy. I'm talking VR glasses. Yes, virtual reality for cows. Picture these chubby cattle chilling out in their stalls with some kind of peaceful, relaxing landscape playing on their VR headsets. This keeps them relaxed and stress-free while they're being milked. Pretty wild, right? But why go to such lengths to pamper these cows? Well, because when the cows are stress-free, they produce better quality milk. And for anyone on the butter making journey, high-quality milk is step number one. So once these cows are relaxed and ready, they enter an automated milking system that's honestly a marvel of modern technology. Before we continue, I'd like to ask for a quick favor. If you're enjoying the video, please like and subscribe. It's free for you, but it makes a huge difference for us. Here's how it works. Each cow walks into its designated stall, where a milking unit is ready and waiting. These aren't just any milking machines. These units are super gentle, using controlled vacuum pressure to draw the milk out naturally. The cups are carefully placed on the cows, and the whole process is designed to be comfortable for the cows, which is key to getting that creamy, delicious milk we're after. The best part? The milk flows straight into containers with zero human contact. Now, once that milk is collected, it doesn't just head straight to butter making. First, it's got to go through a series of quality tests. You don't want just any milk making it into your butter, after all. Only after it passes these rigorous tests does it move on to the next stage. And this next step is crucial. The milk enters what's called a centrifuge, which is a machine that spins the milk really fast. This helps separate the cream from the rest of the milk. It's much faster than the old school way of just waiting for the cream to rise to the top naturally. After centrifugation, we end up with two main products, skimmed milk and cream. Now, quick side note, skimmed milk might not be everyone's favorite, because let's be honest, it doesn't have that rich, full taste that whole milk has. But it's super healthy and great for anyone who's looking to cut down on fat. Once separated, the cream is smoothed out and goes through pasteurization, which is just a fancy word for heating it up to kill any bacteria. After pasteurization, the cream is allowed to mature. Think of it like letting dough rise before you bake it. After maturing, the cream starts to transform into something truly magical. Butter grains. These tiny, smooth, subtle grains are the building blocks of the butter we love. The grains have to go through one more step before they become a spreadable, creamy butter we can't get enough of. They get washed. Why? Because washing the butter grains removes any leftover buttermilk, which can give the butter a tangy flavor. And while tangy butter might sound good to some, most people prefer that pure, rich, creamy taste. So, the washing process ensures that the final butter will be as smooth and flavorful as possible. After washing, the butter grains get a little seasoning, specifically salt. This is where we get salty butter, which, let's face it, is the ultimate topping for pretty much everything. Now let's talk about churning. This is where the butter really comes to life. Churning is the process of continuously moving the butter mixture to make the fat molecules come together. It's kind of like kneading dough, but instead of bread, we're making butter. This process creates that smooth, creamy texture we all know and love. Fun fact, did you know that in ancient times butter was so valuable that people used it as currency? Imagine going to the market and paying for your groceries in pats of butter. So once the butter is all churned and creamy, it's time to shape it. This part is actually super fun to watch because the butter gets pushed through an extruder, which is basically a machine that shapes the butter into whatever form is needed. And for those who love that artisanal touch, there are hand-molded butters too. These beautiful little creations are for anyone who wants their butter to look as good as it tastes. Once shaped, the butter is ready for packaging. And here's where things get really high-tech. Machines work in perfect harmony. One places the tubes, another pours the butter in, and a third seals it up with golden paper. Then the butter takes a ride on a conveyor belt, heading toward the barcode station. This might sound like just another step, but it's crucial for making sure every package is tracked and ready for the shelves. But wait, we're not done yet. There's another butter product that's just as delicious, if not more so: ghee. Ghee is like butter's fancy cousin. It's made by melting butter and boiling it until all the water evaporates and the milk solids separate from the fat. What's left is pure, golden ghee, a rich, nutty, flavorful oil that's perfect for cooking. It has a higher smoke point than regular butter, which means it won't burn as easily, making it great for frying, sautéing, and even baking. Once it's ready, the ghee is poured into containers where it cools down before heading to the packing station. Every drop of ghee is poured through a sieve to ensure it's perfectly pure, and then it's sealed up, locking in that buttery richness. And there you have it, the full journey from cow to butter and beyond. Whether it's salty butter, artisanal butter, or ghee, the process is as intricate as it is fascinating. Next time you reach for that stick of butter, you'll know just how much love, science, and technology went into making it. So next time you're enjoying that perfectly buttered toast or drizzling ghee over your favorite dish, take a moment to appreciate the magic behind it all. Now, if you're into learning about the fascinating world of food production like I am, make sure to check out our other videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, are you team salty or unsalted? And what's your favorite way to use butter? Can't wait to hear from you. Hey there, food lovers! Have you ever wondered how your favorite bagel gets made? From the moment the wheat is harvested in the fields to the delicious golden brown bagel that you grab on your morning run, it's an impressive journey of science, tradition, and of course, great taste. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an exciting culinary journey. To truly appreciate the bagel, we need to go back centuries. The story of the bagel begins in Eastern Europe, specifically in Poland, during the 17th century. It's believed that the bagel was first created as a tribute to the King of Poland, Jan III Sobieski, after his victory over the Ottoman Turks in 1683. The shape of the bagel, a perfect ring, was said to symbolize the stirrup of a horse, a nod to the king's military prowess. As Jewish communities spread throughout Europe, so did the bagel. It became a staple in Jewish bakeries across the continent. But it wasn't until the early 1900s that the bagel made its way to America, brought over by Jewish immigrants who settled in New York City. In the 1920s, bagels became a street food sensation in the city's Lower East Side. But how do factories today make such consistent, delicious bagels on such a large scale? Everything starts with the wheat. The flour that forms the base of every great bagel begins in the field. Farmers harvest specific strains of wheat that are high in protein and gluten, two key components needed for that classic bagel chewiness. Once harvested, the wheat is cleaned and ground into flour at the mill. This process is more detailed than it sounds. The wheat is carefully sorted to remove any debris, then milled into fine flour that is ideal for bagels. It's important to get the protein content just right, as this affects the dough's structure and elasticity. Then, the flour is transported to the bagel factory, where the real magic is happening. In a bagel factory, dough is created in massive mixers designed to handle large batches. First, flour is poured into the mixer. Flour is the foundation, but it's not the only ingredient. To make the dough, factories add a precise mix of water, yeast, salt, and sweeteners like barley malt syrup. This combination ensures the dough rises well and gives the bagel its subtle sweetness and perfect consistency. After adding the ingredients, the mixer begins to work its magic. The dough is mixed for around 10 to 12 minutes at high speeds, kneading the ingredients into a smooth and elastic dough. This is crucial because bagels need a dense but supple dough. Too soft and they'll be airy. Too tough and they'll be too hard. Once the dough reaches the right consistency, it's time to let it rest. Resting helps the gluten relax and the dough to become easier to handle during the next steps. At this point, the dough is still quite large, and the factory needs to divide it into smaller pieces. Factories use automated dough dividers to ensure that each portion is exactly the same size, usually around 3 to 4 ounces for a standard-sized bagel. The next step is crucial: the shaping of the dough into a perfect round shape. In traditional bagel making, bagels are hand-rolled, but in a factory, this process is done using automated machines. Now, here's a step that sets bagels apart from most other bread products: the boiling process. After the dough is shaped, it's time to give it the signature dense, chewy texture that makes bagels so unique. Bagels are boiled briefly in water before baking. In most factories, the water is heated to just under boiling temperature, typically around 205 to 210 degrees Fahrenheit, 96 to 99 degrees Celsius. Sometimes, a small amount of baking soda is added to the water to help the bagels develop that golden brown, glossy crust when baked. The boiling process causes the bagels to puff up, creating the chewy exterior and slightly soft interior that we all know and love. Once they're done boiling, the bagels are carefully lifted out of the water and drained before they head to the next stage. Next up, baking. The boiled bagels are now ready to go into the oven. But not just any oven, a special type of oven known as a conveyor belt oven. This system allows for continuous production, with bagels traveling through the oven on a belt for a consistent, evenly baked result. Bagels are baked at high temperatures, usually between 450 and 475 degrees Fahrenheit, 232 to 246 degrees Celsius, for about 10 to 12 minutes. As they bake, they undergo a magical transformation. The outside becomes crispy and golden, while the inside remains soft and chewy. The conveyor belt moves at just the right pace to ensure every bagel gets the perfect amount of heat. And, unlike regular bread, bagels retain their moisture and thickness due to that critical boiling step. When they come out of the oven, these bagels are perfectly baked with that signature glossy golden brown crust. Some bagels are left plain, but many bagels are topped with delicious additions, whether it's sesame seeds, poppy seeds, everything seasoning, or other flavorings. At this point, bagels are either manually or automatically topped with seeds, onions, or other flavorings. This step is crucial because it's not just about taste, it's about creating the visual appeal that makes each bagel so recognizable. Some bagels also receive a light glaze of sugar syrup to add a subtle shine and sweetness to the crust. Once the bagels are fully baked, topped, and glazed, it's time to prepare them for packaging. Bagels are carefully arranged in packaging trays or bags. Depending on the factory, bagels may be packaged by hand or with automated machines. Some factories also offer pre-sliced bagels for customer convenience. After packaging, the bagels are sealed tightly to preserve their freshness. Some factories even use nitrogen to flush out the oxygen in the packaging, which helps extend shelf life without the need for preservatives. Once packaged, the bagels are ready for distribution. They are loaded onto pallets, shipped out, and sent to stores and bakeries, ready to be enjoyed by bagel lovers everywhere. And there you have it. From the fields where the best wheat is harvested, to the dough mixing, and finally the packaging, this is how bagels are made in a factory. While the process may seem automated, it's important to remember that every bagel is crafted with care to deliver that perfect combination of texture, flavor, and freshness. Whether you like them toasted with cream cheese or piled high with smoked salmon and onions, every bagel begins with these simple yet crucial steps. So the next time you grab a bagel, you'll have a deeper appreciation for the artistry and precision that goes into making these delicious treats. Thanks for joining us today at Factory Review.